Our word of the week this week is diablepo. Let's take a look. Diablepo is I open my eyes, I look intently, or I see clearly. From dia, through, and blepo, I look or I see. Our first example is a case of opening one's eyes. So in Mark chapter 8, we read the story of Jesus healing a blind man. And in that story, he takes the man aside and spits in his eyes, and then he has to, the man says, I see what looks like trees walking, or men like trees walking. And then we get into this interesting exchange in verse 25 of Mark chapter 8. This is from the ESV, and I've added the Koine. Then Jesus laid his hands on his eyes again, and he opened, diablepson, his eyes. His sight was restored, and he saw everything clearly. So notice how much process there is in this telling of the story. The spit, the touching of the eyes, the second touching of the eyes. And we're told three parts. He opened up his eyes, his sight was restored, and then he saw clearly. So there's a lot of process involved here with diablepo rather than just blepo. If he just said he saw, and then his sight was restored and he saw again, it wouldn't be quite the same, would it? The next thing we're going to look at is when diablepo is used with an infinitive. Now we see in two different Gospels, we see Jesus talk about plank-eyed speck inspectors, right? He says, don't try to get the speck out of your brother's eye if you have a plank in your own eye. So we're going to look at Matthew chapter 7, verse 5. This is from the ESV. You hypocrite, first take the log out of your own eye, and then you will see clearly to take the speck out of your brother's eye. And I didn't add the Koine into the verse. I put it underneath because it's a long phrase, and I wanted you to be able to see the whole thing. Tote diablepses ekbalein. Tote then, diablepses, future active indicative, third person singular, you will see clearly, ekbalein, to cast out. So first get the log out of your eye, and once you've done that, then you will see clearly so that you can cast out the speck from your brother's eye. If you get rid of the obstruction, your vision will be clear. You'll diablepo, you'll see through, and you'll be able to engage in that work of speck removal. So for those of you who are, I won't say fluent would be excessive. For those of you who have a decent facility with Koine, I have an idea for you that I think you'll enjoy. If you compare Matthew 7:5 to Luke 6:42, you'll see something fascinating. It's two different Gospels capturing the same quote from Jesus, except the writers both use diablepses, the future active indicative of diablepo. They both use ekbalein, to cast out, but Luke's sentence structure, talking about the speck in your brother's eye, is much more complex than Matthew's. Why would you want to go look at that? Because it gives you the opportunity to see someone for whom Greek is their first language and someone for whom Greek is a second or third language, both communicating the same quote. And you'll see the difference in the complexity and sophistication of their use of the language. It's a great chance to make that comparison. It'll give you as a reader a chance to engage in diablepo, to look clearly, to see more thoroughly through something, and see how they chose to use language to communicate the same quote. So diablepo, I see clearly, I see through, I open my eyes. It's our word of the week. I hope it was good for you, and until next time, Charis Kai Reni Humin, grace and peace to you.